Okay, there you go. That's the sound of Michael Jackson, and Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Right now in the studio, we've got a former Womble, which is Morgan Kent, here with us, and Rich B, Richard Borthwick, who's a man who used to have these pop magazines, and he's interviewed nearly all the top pop stars and that. You know, but the reason that we're talking, especially today, sit down, Morgan. Right, just
come on, Morgan, get back on that chair. Come on,
these Wombles, you've got to keep under control.
You have. They're off. Well, he saw a bit of litter on the floor. He went to pick it up.
Rich B here interviewed Michael Jackson, and it would have been his 55th birthday today, wouldn't it? Yeah. So this is why I think this is interesting. The fact that you spoke to him. Tell us all about how that interview took place and what you thought of him.
Well, it was about 83 when he was doing that record Say, which was with Paul McCartney. Yeah, and I was asked if I would do an interview with Paul McCartney, and I know, like, for you two, this would be like sacrilege, but I turned it down because he wasn't really what I would call our type of music, and the woman was
my type of music.
I know
your type. You're slightly younger.
Jackson was well into the thing, but he wasn't. And of course, they said to us, "Look, we're not really meant to say, but he's doing this record with Michael Jackson. You'll have to." So what actually happened was my assistant editor did Paul McCartney, and I did Jackson. And I happened to be in Los Angeles at the time when they were doing it. I got the phone call, and it was at the Beverly Hilton in Los Angeles, and he had the entire floor for all his people. And I was saying to Morgan, Michael Caine was booked into this hotel at the same time, and they shifted him down the floor so that Jackson.
I don't bloody like that. I'm not going down there if he's going to be up there.
Well, he went down to have haircuts.
I've just about had a bloody enough with this bloody Michael Jackson.
He shifted him.
Is that how he said it?
Exactly how he said it. And he bumped him, and he was. I saw him in reception, and he was really not happy about the fact that he'd been shifted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got told, okay, that he wants to go. He wants to interview. He wants you to interview him, and it's like he wanted us to interview him.
Right.
So what was unknown to me is that Jackson was obsessive about popularity and being current. So when he went to the UK, he bought all the magazines like Smash Hits and Hours and stuff like that.
Right.
And he actually liked it.
So
and
he
had
knew
them shipped out to him.
He knew your magazine.
He knew our magazine.
Everything about it.
Really weird. And we got to the stage. We got to the floor, and there was all the security people and all that sort of stuff. But bear in mind, at this stage, and it's not a racist thing. At this stage, he was still black. He was very. He was just come off the Billie Jean type of stuff.
He still had the same nose.
He still had the original nose. He hadn't got to the other nose, and therefore he hadn't really got it quite into that sort of weird thing. There wasn't all that Neverland, and
he was still a wanted pop star.
Yeah, that's right.
Respected.
He was in the kids stuff. He was going to Disneyland and all that sort of stuff, but he hadn't quite gone as far.
As Loopy.
No, that's right.
As Wacko Jacko.
That's right.
Radio rental.
So the PR. That's right. Yes. I used to have a telly of theirs. And he said. They said to me, "You've got 5 minutes with him. You're not allowed a single second more than 5 minutes. Right. You're not allowed to ask him this. You're not allowed to ask him that. You can't do this. You don't speak until you're spoken to." And the rules were unbelievable. You know what I mean? It was. But when I got in there, he talked for half an hour and he asked me more questions than I asked him.
And that's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? Yeah.
He was truly fascinated about what we were doing, and every time I tried to ask him a question, he kept asking me questions. It was really.
So you got interviewed by Michael Jackson.
I'd sort of probably say yes.
So now tell us, how did you feel with him? Did you like him?
To be really honest, yes, I did. I didn't think I was going to, and he was actually quite sort of sweet, for want of a better word. He was all sort of soft and softly spoken. And
did he seem immature in any way?
It's interesting, because I wasn't allowed to ask him any questions about his parenthood and all this sort of stuff. But I got sort of close, because he said to me something about how did you start the magazine, where did you get the money and all that sort of stuff, and I said, well, I didn't have any money. I said, my mum and dad have always supported me in anything I did, but they didn't actually give me money to do it, but they also they were really and I think that's almost the words he said, you're lucky, to have a nice mum and dad, and that's how he sort of got into the thing.
All my mum and dad had was a council flat. You're lucky to have a mum and dad with a bit of Bugs Bunny.
Oh no, they never had no money, but they just supported you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like physically and mentally, say go on and get it done.
Sure.
I mean, when I told my mum I was giving up my job to start a pop magazine, she wasn't overly impressed, but she supported me in doing it. And said,
it's strange that he would say you're lucky. I mean, the thing is, right? He's had the most amazing upbringing. I mean, maybe his childhood was taken away from him a little bit because they were working all the time.
Was worse than that,
But he loved the music, didn't he?
He did, but his dad used to sit in front of the Jacksons when they were performing, and he'd have a big leather belt over his knee, and if they didn't sing properly, he would whack Jackson, and that's where he didn't have a childhood, and that's why he rebelled against it and had his childhood in later life.
Sure.
But I'll tell you what, that makes a council flat look like luxury now.
It does, doesn't it?
You weren't hit with a belt, were you?
No.
You just
couldn't afford one.
It's funny though. It's not really on the subject of Michael Jackson. But I had a friend of mine only the other day. He said, literally 2 days ago, and I was talking to him, and he said, I said, how's it going? Oh, he said, I'm sad, I'm poor. I said, Andy, you've got a BMW. So he says it's 5 years old. I said, you've got. I said, what do you want? He said, well, I want a 56-inch TV. I said, but you've got a 48-inch TV. and it's all a question of reality.
These are first world problems.
They are.
Because the third world, well publicised, right? But what people don't understand is, like, for instance, when your maid doesn't turn up for the day.
Yeah.
It's a problem, isn't it, in the first world?
In the first world, yeah.
And the other one, I did actually a list of these the other day, and the one that came out on top was when you've got so much money in your wallet, you can't close it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, isn't it?
It is a problem. It is a problem.
In the first world...
You need something more than just money, and I think that was what going back to Jackson. That's what I think he was doing. He had the money, but he wanted his childhood back.
Yes, yeah.
He was trying to get
missing something.
He was missing something. And he was trying to get it back.
So, what questions did you ask him?
I mean, 30 years ago, I can't remember exactly. But I was saying to him. One of the things I asked him was, I said, he's asked me something about the magazine. I said, well, it's funny, we read it and we read it and we read it, and then when it's published, we find something that's wrong with it. He said, I'm a perfectionist. He said, I listen to a track again and again and again, and I tweak it with a producer and all the rest of it. And he can't remember which song it was, but he did one for me which he was doing, and it was like he was doing all the sounds to it, like all the that's a bit like that. I couldn't do it, what I mean, but it was like that. And he was saying to me that he sweats over all of that, and when it comes out, he doesn't like any of it. He thinks it's not good enough. It's not, he's almost forced into.
The trouble is, he's too close to it, probably. When we listen to the music, we listen to it just as it is, and we don't know whether it could be any better or what it sounded like before. Right. So, there's it's the same with any of the Beatles stuff. You can pull it apart and say, "Oh, he didn't play that quite right," but it was the character of it, So you can understand when they're that close to it that they can hear the little nuances and maybe I could have sung that just a little bit better.
But I think that's the point, though, isn't it? Because when I used to be in business, I used to say to people who work for me, they used to go, oh, well, we do a great job of doing this or we do a great job of doing that. I said, what you should always do in business is put a tent card on the table, and on this side put your view. We produce a fantastic magazine, our record is great, or whatever, and then get up mentally and physically and walk around the other side of the table and see what's written on the back of the other tent card, because it may say this is absolute rubbish. You know what I mean? You've got to see what the public are seeing to it. You want to see, wonder what they think about it.
Absolutely,
You go around the other side, have another look.
If you take the artist to the final mix, you'll find out you never get it mixed because they always leave him at home.
Well, I've always had a problem if I've been producing a band, and I'd never let the band come in while you're mixing, because the bass player said, "Oh, can't you push me up a little bit?" I can't quite hear the drums in that bit, you know. They always want to hear their bit a little bit louder, but they're not listening to the final thing, the objectively, you know.
Have you ever seen that comic strip thing with I think it's called Bad News?
Bad News Tour,
and he's doing exactly that. He's sitting there. You want to put the bass up just a bit more, all the time, and everybody. If you've got a whole band in, they're all wanting to pull the thing apart.
It's a nightmare. That really is a nightmare. You've got to have someone who's objective. That's why George Martin was so good with the Beatles.
But I was in with him for 30 minutes, and the PR lady went mental, because obviously he can control how long you're allowed in. You know what I mean? And she's going, doing this. That's not me. I can't do anything. He's asking me things. I can't.
He obviously found you as engaging as you found him.
Oh, definitely, and that's what was really strange, because you think, I've got nothing in common with Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Not really.
Not a lot. No,
not a lot.
Did he have all the gear on? Did he look like Michael Jackson was in his dressing gown?
No, he was really plain. He was just
was he just wearing a t-shirt and jeans?
No, he had white. I do remember that sort of white socks.
Yeah, but it was white socks.
He had that sort of stuff.
Dress on,
but he wasn't doing. No, he didn't have a dress. Put another shilling in the meter. That's right.
There.
Come on, get up, get out, and start grooving. Juggling around to the sound of music.
The guys outside just turned our lights off.
Well, there you go. It all adds to the drama of it, doesn't it? All adds to the drama of it.
Yeah.
But no, he wasn't into all that. I'm wearing gloves and face masks and all that sort of stuff. That hadn't really come as yet. No, I mean that was all much later on. You know what I mean? But it, as I say, it was really, really pleasant. That's the thing that I come across. And there he is meant to be promoting his record, and I don't think he mentioned it twice.
Really?
No. I mean, it was.
Can you remember anything that you asked him? Anything that you about it? I mean, it probably was a bit of a daze, But you must have, as I say, you must have written it all down.
Yeah, well, I'd said to him about they hadn't actually done the video at that stage. They were just about to do the video. I said, "What are you doing for the video?" And he said, "Well, we're going to Santa Barbara to do the video with Paul McCartney." And he said, "I've got a lot of friends coming along to see it and all that sort of stuff." And I really wanted to go, but I was going back home. And he said, "Oh, you can come along and watch the video being recorded."
Wow.
But I was on, those days you couldn't change an airline ticket for the, I mean, you probably know that yourself. It's not that easy.
Not that easy then, no.
No, I mean, but it was nice. And also, what was funny, of course, you go to a hotel like that, they've got all the security outside with all the girls and all that sort of stuff all outside. They follow them around. The word gets out, doesn't it? And that's before the internet as well.
We had groupies, Womble groupies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What were they dressed as?
It was terrible.
I think I was one of them.
Well,
I've been stalking you 50 years and I only just found you. You know what I mean?
They used to have things up, like signs up saying, "Bungo, show us your face." It was cute.
I was very worried.
I was very worried. I was ready with the clap to help you out there.
There you go, now, Michael Jackson, what's your impression of him now after his life? I know.
Is he really?
Well, there's a hot bit of news. No, what I mean now, looking back on I mean, let's face it, you love pop music, you've been involved in the pop world there. When you look back at him now, sometimes you think of his records and you think, well, that was just a brilliant record, that was a fantastic record. But then his persona has not been publicised well, is it?
No, and I wonder whether it was a bit like we were talking about the Des O'Connor thing. I wonder whether, in a way, he played to it and he didn't really care what other people thought about him, because he got the money, the fame, and the music and all the rest of it. Who cares what I said? But I don't think that can really be the case, because it must hurt you when you read things about that sort of stuff,
especially on that subject. He was done for. Well, he wasn't done actually.
No, he was not guilty.
No, but it was just that he got all that bad publicity about it.
You wouldn't want to be accused of it. Would you?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not something you would. But I think he was ill-advised, ill-judged, and people didn't stand up to him.
Like you said, there was all these people behind him saying, you can only have 5 minutes within all the security and everything. Do you think he was bad? A lot of people were just in it for their own.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
pocket.
For sure. I mean, because they're all making money off him, aren't they? I mean, every single one of them, and they're all doing their thing to try and.
And do you think he was manipulated?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember one question he asked me now, just came to me.
Sure.
He said to me, who did I think would still be making records in like 40 years' time. And of course, you go, oh, you, Michael, for sure. And he said, yeah, leave me out of it. Who do you think?
Wrong there, weren't you?
Yeah. So, but I thought Madonna at the time. I thought Madonna. Yeah. I mean, she's probably not now really a thing. And I did think Duran Duran. They do still make records, but they're not really like what you sort of call massive. And it was interesting, you know.
They're big in America, funny enough.
Yeah, they're still good there. Yeah. But he rated both of those. He saw those. He saw those as I wouldn't call them rivals, but rivals for top positions.
It is great when you think Michael Jackson's been listening to my record.
Yeah, yeah. But then, of course, the other way round, I suppose. They might.
I had the same thing with Peter Gabriel once. When I was with Brother the Man, I thought I met Peter Gabriel, and we were chatting, and I mentioned about something I do. He said, "Oh yeah, I know that record. It's very good." Yeah, and he started. I said, "Do you know it?" And he started singing. Peter Gabriel was singing back up one of my songs to me, and that was one of the most amazing moments of my life. I thought, you don't expect it. You don't think of that. You don't. Guys that you revere so much.
I mean, obviously, I'm in a lower position of it to you, like with the pair of you who've had hits and number one and all sorts of stuff like that.
Well,
I'm just knocking out magazines. But when you do meet someone who's actually seen it, you're sitting there with Jackson, and he's going, "I've read your magazine," and you think, "Really?" You know,
that is something
it's
to say,
weird.
That's fantastic. And thanks for sharing with all that with us today, right? Rich B, and we're calling him Morgan K.
Morgan K is fine.
Morgan K, who's the Womble. Morgan K, Rich B. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.